Welcome back, friends. It's time for another episode of We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. There is so much that happened in women's sports this week,
A
and
lot.
I mean, so much, and I can't wait, and Ashley can't wait to talk to you all about it. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've had so many amazing, right there, we've had so many amazing conversations with all of you already on YouTube and the podcast platforms, and we want to make sure that we are tapped in every single week. So hit that subscribe button, give us all the likes, share with everybody. Just make sure that you're tapped in every way so we can talk with you every week now.
We also have to shout everybody out because our first week video, our first premiere episode, if you will, did phenomenal. Second week, we had great conversations where we were handing out letter grades and we were giving accolades about outfits and stuff from the draft. Also did really well. So we just appreciate y'all rocking with us from the beginning, so early on. I know, new podcasts seem to always be popping up and things like that, but it's dope that you guys are supporting this early on. We very much appreciated it. I'm stealing Caitlin Clark's thing. There we go. Oh my gosh.
The hearts
I didn't do that.
What is happening? That was like the super heart.
Magic. That's crazy. That was cool. That was cool.
Let me see. I don't really know how to do that, but
it didn't work for you.
No, what the heck? Maybe it's the way I did it, because clearly it just was not.
Maybe it wasn't hard enough.
Yeah, I need to work on that. I'll definitely work on that. But Ashley, like, this week has been crazy in women's sports, but it's also been crazy in another way because I don't know about you, but I've been traveling a lot, and literally I had to do a video about it on my personal channel because,
girl,
I just don't know what's going on. What is happening with our travel lives? Like, it's going crazy.
Yeah, I saw your video and I was like, we have to talk about this on the show. There's a few things about traveling that pissed me off. I'm going to run down the list, okay? Number one, we board in groups. Stop trying to push in front of the line with group A when you know you're in group D. We're not going to you first. Move out of the way. Let everybody who's ahead of you go and stop trying to make things more difficult. That's number one. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when people stand up the minute the plane stops. Sir, you're in row 37. There's no way you're getting from there to row 1 to beat me out of this plane. Relax. Calm yourself, okay?
And that just started, Ashley. That just started. People were not doing this before. People were doing the row by row, and now it's just like people bum rush to the front, and I don't understand.
I don't know about you, but what also pisses me off is people who are in the back of the plane trying to be smart and finagle their bag in a spot overhead, way in front of the plane, so that they can just grab it on the way out. If you wanted to sit in the front, you should have paid for the seat, but you didn't. So I'm going to need you to take it to the back with you if your seat goes above you, not above my seat, because I will move your bag. And I've done that before. I've gotten on the plane late, but I'm sitting in the front and I go to put my bag up and there's no spot. And I'm like, I don't know whose bag this is, but you don't sit here. So skirt, move it, take it with you to the back of the plane. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we don't want
that. Doing?
We don't want it.
And then lastly, we were going back and forth about TSA. Listen, here's my thing about pre-TSA. One, if we're traveling in a group and you don't have pre-TSA, global entry, whatever the case, that's your problem. That's a you problem, not a we problem.
Yeah.
We don't speak French. There is no we. There's just I, and there's you. You should have got pre-TSA. It's 2024. You should know better.
See you at the gate.
The real thing that irks me, why do we have a TSA line if that line is going to be just as long as the non-TSA line? What was the reason I went through all of the work to get TSA and to make sure I did all of that? And I've had TSA for years now. Atlanta Airport, I'm talking to you. Why is your TSA line just as long as your regular line? It doesn't serve a purpose. Okay? Pre-check. Sorry. TSA pre-check. Why is the line as long as the regular line? Why are we doing this? What's the reason?
And don't get me started on Clear. Clear is always plugged up now. It's like, what is the point of me going into my pocket to get this privilege, I guess, to go a little bit early or to get through? And now I might as well be in the other line. I mean, you still have to take your shoes off, but you understand what I'm saying. So it's pointless almost at this point.
Listen, absolutely. And then they try to get you when you're walking through pre-check and say, "Oh, if you want to sign up for Clear, do I want to sign up for Clear? Because your line looks just as long as this line, and both these lines look just as long as that line. So what is the reason for any of this?" The whole point of pre-check is to avoid lines. So I can get to the airport 30 minutes before my flight boards and not have to worry about it. Atlanta Airport, if I have to worry about it, then you don't serve a purpose. It's annoying. Fix it. That's my rant. That's my rant.
And I couldn't even say anything better than that. Fix it.
Fix it.
We need to get places, okay? And we pay
Right.
to get places in a certain way, so fix it.
Fix it. Time is money. My God, it's annoying. Just
It-
we could have a whole show about airport traveling pet peeves because that's not even the half of it. I got more, but that's a different show for a different day. We're not talking about that right now.
Be in the comments. Comment below if you want us to talk more about this travel stuff because I feel like we all need to vent, all of us.
For sure.
So,
For
well,
sure.
another thing, Ashley, that needs to be fixed is Asia Wilson needs a signature shoe. Point blank and period. This week, Caitlin Clark made like waves in sports, of all the sports, not just women's sports, when there was an announcement that she was going to sign a blockbuster shoe deal. It's said to be about $28 million, and it includes a signature shoe. Now, nobody is saying that she doesn't deserve the shoe or should have the shoe. She absolutely should. But a lot of people are calling for Asia Wilson to have one who deserves one. And they're saying that it is absolutely crazy that she doesn't have one. There's been a lot of discourse. I know I saw you tweeted about it. And I just wanted to know, like, what do you think about all of this conversation around Asia Wilson not having a signature shoe?
I mean, I would go back even further and say before we get to her, it was a travesty to me that Skylar Diggins never had a signature shoe. I mean, I remember when Skylar Diggins was in college, how she had everybody going crazy, whether you watched women's basketball or not. I mean, I had cousins and homeboys that were like, I love Scott. Drake was like rocking her jersey. She had Lil Wayne showing up to games. Like Skylar Diggins was that girl. And the fact that she never had a signature shoe is mind-boggling to me because I feel like she was one of the first to really like get people who were not watching the W, were not interested in women's basketball, getting their eyes there. The whole Drake thing when she kissed him on the cheek and he like, oh my God, like she had the boys going crazy. So you want to talk about marketability. Skylar Diggins was, and to me is still that girl. So I think that there's so many different tiers to this, right? Because I took marketing in college. It was one of my like undergrad type things, one of my minors rather. And nobody's saying that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve a signature shoe. And when you really understand business and marketing, companies like to tap into moments. They like to tap into, popularity in that moment. And they also like to tap into the perceived longevity of a moment. So with Caitlin Clark, not only is she the moment right now, but there's a perceived longevity that she will be the moment for X amount of years to come, which then helps Nike sell more shoes, right? So, not arguing that, not debating that. I think anybody who understands how brands and brand deals and things like that work can understand that. Even if you go to NIL, there's a reason she was getting so many opportunities in college because she is the moment. But I think that when we talk about the moment, you also have to look how we got to that moment. And how we got to that moment was on the backs and the work of a lot of other women that came before her. Now, when we have this conversation, it's a little bit deeper than just, oh, who's more popular. It has been shown in the way that deals have been approached to female athletes, women athletes versus men, that they perceive certain women to be more marketable than others. And you can talk about this across the board. I remember we were having this conversation years ago about Serena and Maria Sharapova. Serena was the better athlete. She had the better accolades. She was a GOAT. But Maria had a lot of the high fashion deals. She had a lot of the beauty brand deals because she was perceived to be more marketable. And if that is the truth, which it kind of looks like it is, that they deem a certain look to be more marketable, then we need to have that conversation as to why. So I think two things can be true. Caitlin Clark can be very deserving of everything that she has. And I think she's very deserving of having a signature shoe because, again, She is the moment in what she has done for women's basketball specifically this year. But one, she hasn't done it alone. And two, she is there's a direct line of correlation between what brands think is marketable in terms of look and why certain athletes, especially when it comes to women's sports, are able to go ahead and capitalize on that versus others. So two things can be true at the same time, and they are.
Yeah, but let's talk about marketability, okay?
Mhm.
I wrote this all down and I'm just going to read it because I really want her accolades to be shown. Asia Wilson, New York Times bestsellers list for Dear Black Girls. Okay, marketable. If you're on a New York Times bestseller list, you are marketable because people are buying up those books for a reason. Okay,
Mhm.
first female athlete to sign with Ruffles, two-time WNBA champion, two-time MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year winner, five-time All-Star. And she also headlined the Cosmic Unity sneaker line for Nike, which went off the shelves, like sold like hotcakes, like crazy. And she also had her own LeBron 2 player exclusive that were both of them were widely purchased. So I don't know how much more marketable you would want a player to be than to be that. Also, in the WNBA, it's 70% Black. Let's
Mhm.
be clear. And to not have a Black woman have a signature shoe is crazy. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I
And
mean, when you look at the NBA, right? I use them as an example because not every player in the NBA who has a signature shoe is at the same tier, right? You have players like CJ McCollum who have a signature shoe. He's not LeBron James, and the list goes on and on. So while yes, there are shoes that are more popular because of the player that they are attached to, and being popular with a certain demographic of people doesn't make you universally popular. And I'm definitely not arguing that. Again, that goes back to basic marketing. You look at more of a universal appeal versus a singular demographic appeal. But with that said, if you use the NBA, not all of those players have a universal appeal. Not all of them are universally known and admired the same way. So if it's a conversation where Nike, just playing devil's advocate here, if Nike says, well, Caitlin Clark, Stewie, and Sabrina are more universally marketable for reasons that we don't need to dive into. We know what they are, right? Then fair, but that does not mean there's not a market, there's not a fan base, and there aren't people who will support a signature shoe for women who do not look like them. So there is a market, there is a corner for everyone. Nobody's arguing that maybe Caitlin Clark has more of a universal appeal right now because of the moment, and people are prisoners of, have regency bias. They're prisoners of the moment right now, right? So I'm not arguing that. Maybe she appeals to a younger demographic. You kind of can relate this to a Beyonce Taylor Swift situation, right? Taylor Swift has a more universal appeal. Her demographic of her fan base is drastically wider than Beyonce, but that's because Beyonce is really only gearing herself at this point in her career to a certain age group. That doesn't mean that what Beyonce sells isn't going to sell like Taylor Swift. It just means it sells to a different group of people. So I say all that to say, just because one may not sell the same way doesn't mean it's not marketable, and doesn't mean it's not profitable. It's just marketable and profitable in a different way, but it should still be put on the shelves because there is still a demand for it and there's still a desire for it.
there's definitely desire, but it needs to be fixed no matter what.
For
I
sure.
mean, there's so many layers as to why you say somebody is marketable versus them not being. I mean, the last time that a Black player had a signature shoe was Candace Parker with Adidas in 2011. And before that, I believe it was Cheryl Swoops, like 20 years before that had it. And I know I wore them shoes out.
And
Okay.
Lisa Leslie,
Oh,
didn't Lisa Leslie have a
she
signature
she
shoe?
did have a shoe, but I'm saying prior to Candace,
Yeah.
that was the shoe that was out. And I know I personally wore a hole in the bottom of both of them shoes. Okay. And I know that, Asia, since we're talking about Asia, she's the face of the league. She dang near deserved the shoe in college. Okay. So you can't say that she doesn't deserve it. And the fact that people are saying that it's marketability is absolutely false. So you're going to have to come up with another lie, as far as I'm concerned. But my whole thing is give her what she is due, what she has earned. And also, you're going to sell out of those shoes. So why aren't you doing it?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
it's
the
taking
argument
money out of your pocket.
the argument about signature shoes is that by bare minimum, just generalize the argument, what like without going into details of who's more marketable, that it should be a reflection of the league it represents. Just like when we
Absolutely.
talk about the men's side, it's a reflection of the league it represents. You have black athletes who have shoes, you have international European athletes who have signature shoes, you kind of have guys in the middle of, you know, the road who have signature shoes. And yes, again, not every shoe is as popular. LeBron's, Kobe's, and KD's are a lot more popular than, you know, Devin Booker's shoe, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is coming out with it. Like, it's different tiers, but that it's a reflection of the league. The top players get shoes, and then you let the chips kind of fall where they may. So it's not taking away from Caitlin. She's very much deserving of this moment because of what she is
Absolutely.
at this moment in time and what she can be. But that doesn't take away from the fact that there have been other players who have also been very instrumental in getting us to this point that deserve a shoe based on what they have done in the sport in which they play. And if we're going to go ahead and award someone who hasn't done anything and we're doing it just based on what she's done collegiately, what she's done for the sport right now and moment in popularity and perceived longevity, fine, love it. I'm not mad at it. Get your coin, sis. But we also have to look at what's already been done. And I think that's where kind of the bumping of the heads is coming into play when we talk about this, when we have this conversation.
Absolutely. Well, we could talk about this all day, and I'm sure we will have more conversation about this. But we're going to talk about something that just happened, that just dropped. Taylor Swift has a new album, and it has taken.
Speaking of universal appeal,
it has taken everyone by storm. And so we're going to take a look at, it's just a little game, something we want to play. I think it's going to be fun.
Okay.
And we're going to pair Taylor Swift albums with athletes.
Okay. I don't know all of Taylor Swift's albums like that well. I only know like the later ones, but I'm gonna do my best. We got this. I'm gonna do it.
I actually wanted to say as well, Swiftie, don't come for us, Swifties.
Yeah.
Don't come for us. We are doing our best. We are learning.
I'm good with like four albums that I really, really know. And the rest is like, she has a lot. It's a lot.
Man,
I just got into Taylor Swift maybe like a couple years ago. I'm here now, but like it's taken me a while.
Well, let's start with Alex Morgan.
Okay.
What album would you give her?
I want to go Fearless. I don't know the album too well, but the name and Alex Morgan just seems like a perfect pairing. So I'm gonna go Fearless. That's my vote.
All right.
I don't know the music that well, but the name sounds good.
The name sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in 2015, during the 1989 tour, Taylor Swift brought the whole World Cup team out.
Oh, that's a good one then.
So I'm going 1989 for that reason.
I didn't know that one. That's a good one. Okay, we'll go with yours. Let's go with yours. So 1989, you're off the list. We can't use you again.
Oh, we can't reuse?
Can we? Well,
I was planning on it.
I guess we have to. It's 11 albums. Well, if 11 albums, 11 athletes would be one for each, right? Don't reuse. We can't reuse. Our producer Liz said no reusing.
Oh, okay, Liz, you're jacking me up. But we gonna see.
1989, out of here.
Okay, so Trinity Rodman is the next one. I personally have her with the album Lover. And the reason why is, she's all over TikTok. And she had a viral TikTok moment with the song Cruel Summer. So I was like, I'm going to give her Lover because of that.
That's good. I like how we're diving into non-sports related things. I'm making this way too complicated. I'm trying to like correlate stats and like what they do with like the album and how I like the way you're doing it better. I'm following your lead. Okay. Sophia Smith, who do you have? What album do you have for her?
So I don't know. I said Fearless for her because she said, I Googled it and she said Love Story was her favorite song. So I was like, it's on the Fearless album. Boom. Sophia gets Fearless.
Easy. I'm not mad at it at all. We can keep going. I'm following your lead. I have some for the bottom, but like I didn't think I thought too deeply into this. So okay, go ahead.
Well, I think you should break some of these down, especially because I have Fearless like 5 times.
Do
So
you?
you'll have your moment. Trust
Okay,
me.
go ahead. What do you
But
have for
for
visual
Asia
for this?
Wilson, who is the next one, I have Debut as her album because we need to debut her signature sneaker. Boom.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. I like that. All right. Aaliyah Boston. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go red. No, I lie. Wait. I'm gonna go Speak Now. Because I feel like Speak Now was like a younger Taylor Swift album. It was like she was still kind of this young girl. Red was when she had her major heartbreak. I feel like she wrote about a bunch of them. Speak Now, she wrote about heartbreaks and stuff, but I still feel like she was like innocent and young and just, her and her little guitar. And I don't know, Leah Boston just gives me young, innocent, she's still trying to figure it out. And watching her, do the interview with her coach, with Dawn Staley during the tournament, it was just like, oh, like, she's kind of growing up a little bit. So I'm going to give her Speak Now. I feel like it's a good fit.
Okay. Well, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you didn't say red because I have red for Coco.
Oh,
I
why?
have red for her because she just entered into her 20s and
Mm-hmm.
22 is on the Red album. So I gave her that.
I like it. Okay. Caitlin Clark, I know what I'm going to do for this one. This one's easy for me. I'm going to go Reputation. Reputation was a Taylor Swift album where she's kind of just like addressing all of these things that people say about her, and there's so many eyes on her, and she's under a microscope. Everybody has an opinion. Everyone says she's this, everyone says she's that, she says she doesn't deserve this, she doesn't deserve that. X, Y, and Z. I feel like that's perfect for Caitlin Clark in the moment she's in. Everyone has an opinion about her, whether good, bad, indifferent. Everybody says that she doesn't deserve this, she doesn't deserve that. Oh, she does. It's just a lot of conversation, a lot of discourse around Caitlin Clark. Reputation is just like the perfect album for her. So Reputation it is. That's what I'm going with.
So what did you have for the next one? Because I had a repeat.
Ooh.
So for Simone Biles, what did you put?
I probably would have picked Lover because she's all like in love with her man, her man, her man. And she's out here like defending her man. And, don't talk about my man. Happy 1-year anniversary. And like, so she's in very much in a lover bubble. So I feel like it's like, I don't know. I feel like we have to reuse. Sorry, Liz. We gotta reuse this. I don't feel like there's anything that works better for her.
I agree. I like that one. She is about her man, her man, her man.
My man.
So Naomi Osaka is next, and I picked Midnights because she's a new mom.
I agree with that.
She's a new mom, and I bet you she's been up at some midnights with her child. So I picked Midnights for that.
Okay, so we have Folklore we definitely repeated. We have Folklore Evermore and the new album. All right, so
But
Katie.
Liz is gonna be mad again because I have to repeat one. I have to do this one because I did some major research on it. Water was named in one album the most out of every album that Taylor has done. And obviously Katie Ledecky as a swimmer.
Right.
She'd be in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So that album was Fearless. Water was named on there like so many more times than the rest of the album. So I had to pick Fearless for Katie Ledecky. I mean, the water.
I'm not mad at that. So then that makes my pick for Brianna Stewart kind of easy. So I'm gonna go with the new album, the Tortured Poets Department. I feel like it's moody. I feel like it's a little bit, rock and roll. You see Taylor with the commercials. It's like black and white. She's wearing dark eyeliner. In one of the videos, she has like Post Malone's tattoos on her face. And I don't know, Stewie gives me very just like rock and roll, kind of just like goes against the grain, a little rough around the edges, got a little bit of an edge to her. I just feel like it's a perfect, relationship between the two of them. I'm gonna go. I feel like she's in, she's very Billie Eilish inside, so I just feel like that's a perfect pairing. I could be wrong. Brianna, listen, girl, if I'm wrong, I am so sorry.
Let us know which album it is if it's not that one.
Yeah, I apologize if I got that wrong. That's the vibe you give me, but listen, I could be wrong.
So it's all about the vibes.
All about the vibes.
Well, okay. Definitely all about the vibes. And one vibe that I have been feeling and seeing everywhere are women's jerseys. People are wearing them left and right. I'm seeing
Yeah.
them all over the place. And I'm so super excited about it. I mean, back when I played, selling a women's jersey just was not a thing. You know,
Mhm.
we would never even think to have our jerseys in, you know, the college store or anything like that. And so to see women's jerseys everywhere, it's just been an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah. I mean, and also they're selling out. So it's not even like, people are just casually buying them. I mean, they're selling out. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, these jerseys are selling out, which means that the support has skyrocketed, which is what made this draft class so special for a multitude of reasons, right? There were so many polarizing and just interesting personalities within this draft class, so many personalities that you've grown with and you've watched go from freshman to sophomore, and also so many underlining storylines, right? I mean, I remember interviewing Angel Reese after LSU won the national championship and all that was surrounding that. And then you have Caitlin Clark. Obviously, she didn't win, but from beginning to the end of this season, all eyes have been on her. The list goes on and on. Cameron Brink is a supermodel playing basketball. Like, it's on and on. The outfits are discussed, the storylines are discussed, who's beefing with who, even if it's manufacturing a beef. I think people are just more invested into not only the sport and seeing how just absolutely competitive it is and how just well played it is, but they're also interested and invested in these young women, and that's traveling to their teams in the W, which is what makes it so special, because you feel a connection with them that we talk about all the time. And, I'm a big March Madness girly on both sides, but one thing the women's side has that the men's doesn't is that you don't really get to grow with a lot of these guys. They're usually one and done. So by the time you kind of develop a fandom for them in their collegiate, careers, they're like, all right, declaring for the draft. It's been real. Whereas women, they don't have that luxury. So you are almost forced in the best way possible to grow with them. And when you grow with somebody, that's how you truly develop a fan base. So I love this. And it's just a changing of the times. And I'm very excited.
It's a changing of the times, and these jerseys are in high demand.
High demand.
Chicago Red Stars, Alyssa Nair, they finally put the goalkeeper jerseys on after like 12 years of people asking. And it literally sold out in 3 hours. Boom, gone. I mean, if you want one of them jerseys, you ain't gonna get them. Okay. You're not gonna get them. But one thing that I definitely want to stress is that I hope these companies are prepared.
Mhm.
You know,
If
has
there's
been some
demand.
jersey, yeah, there's been some jersey drops in the past where people were promised these jerseys and they never got them because they did not anticipate people wanting these jerseys as much as they do. And so I definitely, it's like, you're going to miss out on coin, okay? Like,
Mhm.
you should be prepared anyway. But if you are not, you're going to miss out on a whole bunch of people that want these jerseys. And they should, they deserve that.
Mhm.
Like, they deserve to get them, especially if they put their money down, okay?
But I think it even speaks to a bigger thing where it's now showing that there is a demand for these products that surround and are, you know, geared directly towards women's sports. And I think for a very long time, there was an apprehensiveness about brands and companies to get involved with women's sports because they didn't think it was profitable. Whether they said so or not, their actions showcased that they didn't think it was profitable. So if I'm going to invest in it, I'm just going to do it so small that if I do take a hit, it's nothing that I can even feel, versus if you invest everything or a big chunk of X, Y, and Z into X sport or X player and there's no return, you feel that a little bit more. I think now that you're seeing how in such a demand there is for jerseys regarding women athletes, and that's just not in basketball, it's across the board, and how invested these fan bases are in seeing these women succeed and cheering them on. I think it's going to be the changing of the guard that we needed to get businesses and to get brands and to get companies to really invest, and not just like sort of kind of invest,
Or
or I'm going
just
to
in name.
baby invest, or I'm going to only invest during the playoffs or during a big tournament. No, I'm going to invest from the beginning to the very end because there's a demand and people will buy it. And I think that's what this, to me, this is the bigger message behind these jersey sales.
I agree. And someone this week that invested and bought a jersey was Kev on stage. And you have to see, look,
A
you
little snug,
it's a little snug,
a little
just a bit
tight.
snug.
Yeah.
And what happened was he didn't realize that it was a women's jersey. So definitely check those descriptions. And companies that, I'm not saying that Under Armour did this, but any company that is just selling a women's jersey, no, no, no. We need to sell them in all sizes, not just women. So make sure that you're doing that too. And the other photo that you see here is something that I personally um, took part in this weekend. That's my god baby Dallas.
How cute.
She's so cute. We went to the Cal Bears softball game. She's a softball player. She's a star. Let's be clear. And she absolutely loves Tatum Anzaldo. So that's number 3. She's right there in the picture with her. And she wore her jersey to the game. She was there with her team, the California Breeze, and we just had an amazing time. But it was so phenomenal to see her repping, another player
I love
that
that.
she loves. And then to have her sign the jersey, it's literally all she can talk about. And it
That's
just goes to show
amazing.
you that these jerseys are far beyond just pieces of clothing, they're inspiration. She's never going to forget that. And it's just going to make her, better in her path and how she's a player in softball or whatever she chooses to do in the future. She's going to be inspired by that moment and by that jersey. So
Yeah, I don't think people realize that like jerseys, yeah, it's a way to show team loyalty and player support. But I think also, especially when you're young, I think maybe when you get a little bit older, you kind of lose that um naive aspect of it, that make believe aspect of it, unfortunately, because the world hardens us and makes us cynical. But
every
when
day.
you're a kid, I think that when you put that jersey on, one, you feel a direct connection to whoever's jersey it is that you're wearing, right? And I think two, it's almost like I kind of equate it to like taking a superhero's cape, like Superman's cape, and like you put it on and you kind of feel a little bit like invincible because you're wearing this jersey. You idolize the person who wears this jersey night in and night out or wherever the jersey is worn. And it just makes you feel that like what's possible for them is possible for you because you have this piece of clothing that connects you to somebody that you may or may not have ever met. And you see that so much in kids. Like I said, as adults, you kind of lose that magic, if you will. But as kids, you see it. Like I've done so many events where like players are giving back and they're giving back their jerseys and some of them are even signed. And the joy in these kids' face when they wear the jersey or they're given a jersey of their favorite player or players is like it's really like transferring. I kind of think of like Mike, where he's wearing Jordan's shoes and he gets Jordan's powers in the game, and it's just like he goes from regular to like Michael Jordan. Like it's the same thing for these kids. It almost makes them feel like they have a superpower, and I just think that's what makes jerseys so special and why it's important to have jerseys of every single player that you possibly can, because you never know which of those players connect with a young kid and how that can change or navigate their destination to their dreams. I think it's a dope concept. So
It definitely is dope. And
yeah.
you mentioned connecting. We're about to be in the segment that we love every week. I know you do. I do.
Yeah.
And it's Connecting Changes Everything, presented by AT&T. This week, we are connecting you to an amazing story that I actually had the privilege to sit down with Jenny Nguyen, who is the owner of the first ever sports bar that shows only women's sports. And it's in Portland, Oregon, which happens to be my hometown. So awesome that I got to sit down with her and have this conversation with why she started the sports bra, what it meant to her, what it meant to the community, and what it means to women's sports. It's been only 2 years since she opened it. She has literally taken the nation by storm with this. It's been very lucrative for her as well, even though that's obviously not the reason why she started it. And honestly, she had this idea and she started a Kickstarter because she said, I need a certain amount of money to get this going. And she was able to raise the funds that way. and it has been selling out I mean, you can't get a seat in that place, which is such a beautiful thing to see. Other people have opened up sports, well, they haven't opened up sports bras, but they've opened up other sports bars that show all women's sports. But the reason why we're connecting you with this story today is only 2 years after she opened this bar, she is going to franchise it with the one and only, who is such a prolific supporter of women's sports, Alexis Ohanian.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he's obviously Serena Williams' husband, but he has invested in women's sports time and time again. And he is looking to roll back any of the money that he is making with this venture right back into women's sports. And it's so amazing to see.
Yeah, I love this for 2 reasons. I actually got to coach Jenny. She was on my team when I went to Dallas for Athletes Unlimited. So I got to meet her, connect with her, and she was like, "Whenever you're in Portland, girl, come on in." So I'm like, "Trust me, I'm there. It's on
She's
my
so
list if I ever
amazing.
find myself in Portland." But yeah, I got to coach her in the game. Just such a dope person. Just extremely happy for all of her success. It's such an incredible venture. And Alexis is actually a friend and a mentor. I ask him all the time for business advice. And he is somebody who doesn't just talk the talk, but he walks the walk. Like when I tell you, and you can see this, a lot of his moves are public when it comes to women's sports. He is so adamant. And I think also being a girl dad and, also being the husband of the great, the GOAT, the ultimate Serena Williams, you kind of have no choice but to be an advocate for women's sports because she's not going to allow it to be any other way. And I love that. Go, Serena. But I just think this is so important because you have somebody who's as successful as he has been, in so many different aspects when you talk about tech and web and everything in between. Having somebody of his status in the business world really invest and say, look, I believe so much in the success of this that I'm not even going to take a dime from it. We're going to put this back into something that's going to even be more successful is such a huge thing. And I hope that the more people get involved, but specifically men and very successful men in the world of business and tech or whatever it is the company is that they've, made their fortune in, invest into women's sports and things surrounding women's sports, women in sports, even if you're not an athlete. I hope the more other people are going, specifically men, say, listen, this is profitable because look, at the end of the day, that's not thumbs up, that's thumbs down. That's thumbs up, not thumbs down. The more people see that it works, the more they're willing to invest. And I think that is the biggest key here. And I'm so excited for the future because I think that people are finally starting to get the wheels turning and like, I like to make money. And if I want to make more money, here's something that can make me more money. So let me dive right in. I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. And I love that anything that he makes is going to put right back into investing into women's sports.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing on all levels. And to know that this amazing bar, the sports bra, is going to be franchised in so many cities. Like basically, I'm going to have a home to watch women's sports wherever I go, is an amazing thing too.
What are the cities? Do we know the cities yet?
They haven't announced the cities to my knowledge.
I feel like one's got to be New York.
Oh, without a doubt.
Without sure. A doubt. Maybe LA?
LA is I think all the major cities should have.
I feel like Dallas would be great. Dallas, Austin, any of the major cities in Texas would be great.
Absolutely.
New York would be good.
Seattle would be good. I know
would be good.
Still in the Northwest, but
South Carolina maybe.
Yeah, I mean, let's put them everywhere.
Yeah. You definitely want to tap into the markets that already have a W team.
Yep.
For sure. And then kind of work your way outward.
Well,
maybe bring it to the Bay, Alicia.
No, I would be there every day. They would be like, here she come again. Like,
Listen, I love that. Now, this is another favorite segment of ours, and it's a little segment we like to call What's Up Now. And it's basically where we go ahead and help you keep tabs on all things women's sports, whether it's happening this week, whether it's happening in the future, or maybe it's already happened and we just haven't gotten a chance to discuss it with you. And this week it is all eyes on Nelly Korda as she is on the brink of history. Let me break this down for a second, all right? The LPGA Tour record books on Sunday, she etched her name in it, winning her record-tying 5th straight tournament with a 2-stroke victory in the Chevron Championship. Alicia, listen, as somebody who, not to toot my own horn, but I am a top golf connoisseur. I am the champion of Top Golf when it comes to my circle of friends. But if you bring me on a golf course, not the same outcome. I've tried, trust me. I have so much respect for golfers in general. It is a hard ass sport. I know it looks easy. I know it looks cute, the outfits, and like that's the whole reason I went. I said, you know what? I'm good at Top Golf. I beat all the homies. And I like the skirts and the visors and a little golf cart with the caddy. I'm like, I could do this. Girl, I could not do it.
I'm good at
it was
driving.
So embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm good at driving the cart, and that's about it. Because let me tell you, if I played golf, like I don't know how someone could win 5 tournaments in a row.
I couldn't even do a hole. Like,
but if I played, I know that every single one of my clubs would be broken by the time that we were there because I'd be so frustrated. I'd be like hitting trees and ground and all of that. So it's just not something that I think that I can participate in, but I definitely can drive the cart and build the golf vibes.
Well, unfortunately for us, this money that I'm about to break down for you in a second doesn't come with driving the cart. It comes with actually playing the sport. So we're kind of out of luck. But she took home 1.2 million from a purse of 7.9 million, which is a drastic increase from last year's purse of 5.2 million, which brings her season earnings to 2.4 million and her career earnings. Hold on. Her career earnings, 11.3 million. That's a whole lot of cash. Let me hold $1 to drive the cart. I got you.
What's the caddies make? Like, I need to know.
Think they make millions, girl.
Well,
but I'll be okay with a couple. I'll be okay with an extra 6 figures. You know what I mean? Just like throw that in there. I wonder what Tiger Woods got to pay his golf caddies good money.
Listen, I'm available. That's all I'm saying.
You got 6 figures you can put it on the top, you know? Just drop that in there. A little something.
Just a little percentage.
Listen, she's shooting for a 6th straight win next week. So she's looking to get 6 of them things. She confirmed that she'll be competing in the JM Eagle LA Championship next week in Los Angeles. So she's, like we said, looking to become the first ever to win 6 straight LPGA tournaments. You go, girl.
I mean, I have nothing more to say. 6 in a row. Let's go. I will be watching that. I want to see that. That is incredibly difficult. I mean, this is really like, I wish I was saying better words, but that's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. And people don't realize like the constant motion is hard on your lower back. Like, so, and to be able to win at that level, you obviously are hitting your ball very far and you're constantly in practice. And just the swinging is just like, listen.
And you out in the elements too?
Like, right? I can't even. People watching, like when you're at Top Golf, it's just you and your crew and a little caddy and a little wall and everyone's drinking. So no one really sees what you're actually doing. Couldn't be me, girl. Listen, Nelly, we're rooting for you, girl. We are rooting for you. Listen, that does it for another episode of We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. We thank you guys so much for joining us. We love doing this with you every single week.
Every week. And you better be back next week because we're going to see you right here.
Make sure you guys are subscribing. Like, subscribe, follow myself and Alicia. We're always posting stuff about upcoming episodes that have already aired, sharing clips in case you missed anything. But also tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You know, the list goes on, but make sure you guys are just sharing, subscribing. So much to talk about in the next few weeks. The W season starts very, very soon. And this is the place you want to be. So you make sure you're not missing a moment. of We Need to Talk Now. And until then, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See you next week.